because the healthcare system has the vast majority of individuals with back pain going down the wrong, unevidence-based approach, clearly outdated, and can, not always, cause more harm than good for scaring and creating findings that aren't really relevant. And then the secondary component. Because of all of that, it's a very bad societal narrative about back pain. The reality is this, is you don't really need to touch people to provide a significant improvement in their health, in this topic specifically back pain. And you experienced that just a moment ago.
Yep.
So
what's up, Wellbuilders? Today, I've got a chiropractor on the show, and I actually learned something new. Lower back pain is the #1 disability in the world, and people just don't really know how to handle it. And I myself have been going through lower back pain for the last 3 months, and this guy just gave me some exercises today, right this moment, that instantly cured it. And I'm not kidding you when I say that. Like, I instantly feel better from doing these. So we're going to talk about how to heal your back. We're going to talk about his business. He's built a 7-figure business online on YouTube. He's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and he's doing some really cool things to bring awareness to the medical industry. I've got Dr. Grant Elliott. What's up, man?
what's up?
Dude, I want to talk about how to heal back pain and what's jacked up, but before I do that, like, what even got you into YouTube and going online and everything else? Because, you don't see chiropractors just starting YouTube channels and giving up their physical location to just go all virtual.
Yeah, this is a very different approach that I think is the #1 approach at this point. I'm a little biased, but it really comes down to a few key things. And usually when people find out my chiropractor, they're like, how in the world are you doing that online? Like, what do you mean? Are you
you got to adjust people
through Zoom? What? And the reality is this, is you don't really need to touch people to provide a significant improvement in their health, in this topic specifically back pain. And you experienced that just a moment ago.
Yep.
So one thing you said in your introduction was, we went over some exercise together. I gave you exercises. Well, as a chiropractor, I don't really adjust anybody. Most people think, oh, that's all chiropractors do. And that is what some chiropractors do, which there's nothing wrong with that. But my approach was and always will be, how can I help you not rely on me, so I can give you the tools to learn how to fix yourself and teach you how to fix yourself through guidance, so that you don't need to come back and you can be empowered for the rest of your life. And that's through movement and teaching people the right things to do. So how did I get into taking this online? Well, that goes back a few years, but not that long. I was actually still in school in my chiropractic program. I was about halfway through school. And at that particular time, the plan was, everybody creates a brick and mortar business. And I was actually afraid to even consider creating my own business at that point in time. I was all prepared to work for somebody else. And I had a great mentor back in Indiana. I was prepared to work for him. I was excited to do so, but very intimidated by the concept of creating a business. It just seemed like this scary monster to me. But at that point in time, I knew one thing. I knew that social media is king. And this is back in 2017 when I was about halfway through school. And so I thought, okay, I need to start to post. I need to start to build a brand of some capacity. And at that time, my full intent was, when I'm working at a physical location somewhere, I want to have some social proof, some authority, and a portfolio to show. And I'm going to use my Instagram page. That was my first choice. I'm going to use an Instagram page to display that, my expertise with rehab and movement and helping people to fix themselves. So about halfway through school, I was like, all right, I'm going to start posting, learn how to edit. I had a few editing skills still when I was growing up. I loved skateboarding. I was really into skateboarding. I edited videos with me and my friends. So I pulled out an old laptop, had some editing software, had a little bit of skill in that regard. So I started posting, fix your back videos, work on your hips, try these stretches to try to help people. And I was posting once a week, then twice a week. I was trying to grow. That kind of became a mission while I was in school. And I started listening to podcasts. Okay, what's the best way to grow in Instagram? Best way to grow social media? How do you do it? What are the keys? And after listening and doing some research, the same message came up over and over again, as with anything in life, is consistency.
Yep.
It was just post every day. Just post every day. Just do it. And I was like, man, in our schooling, it was year round. It was fast paced. We had about 40, 45 credit hours a trimester. So a lot of time. I was like, man, posting every day, like, come on, like, is that realistic? About a year left before I graduated. And I just said, all right, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to post every day for a year and see where I'm at when I graduate. Well, I went from 0 to 100K followers in that year, all organic, no ads. I didn't know any of that. I had no intent on making $1 online. It was purely for the goal of making the best videos I possibly can to help as many people as I can, purely for the purpose of just being a portfolio.
Yep.
That was it. That was the goal, just to showcase what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the last 2-3 months before I graduated at the end of 2019, where I was just starting to get, a lot of messages about, are you in this location? Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? And every person, nope, I'm in Tampa. Nope, I'm in Tampa. And I was a referring machine. I was just referring people everywhere. And I was having multiple day-long conversations over text, sending people, hey, try this and try this and try this, and video messages. I was just literally helping everybody because I had no intent of that being a business ever.
Yeah.
I was just getting all these messages. So going into graduation, I'd actually started seeing people in person prior to graduation under the license of just a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see me for rehab. Okay, I don't have to touch anyone. I don't have to provide medical advice. So I don't cross the line of practicing medicine without a license. But I could advertise, hey, I'm in Tampa and I can see you and I can take you through rehab mobility movements. So that was me kind of testing the waters of, can I even create a business? Like, do I know how to do that? So the last 2 to 3 months before graduation, I started seeing a decent number of people book appointments with me and grow. And that was like blowing my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, like my Instagram is like getting me clients in person. I'm making money before I even graduated. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so any degree of online business still wasn't even in my awareness. It was, I was following the typical path, brick and mortar, physical. That's the only thing that exists, right? That's what everybody does.
Yeah.
So fast forward, end of 2019 comes around. I graduate. My very first week in practice, I had 16 new patients on my schedule, which is like a really big deal for any healthcare providers listening. So I had a massive head start. Awesome. But we all know what happened early 2020, right? COVID came around, and this is what created my online journey. Is in those first couple of months of 2020, still having all these people reach out to me about online, I was just totally focused on building my brick and mortar because I didn't know there was any other option.
Yeah.
So I was still posting consistently. I was still posting every day, still trying to grow my page. And I thought, okay, you know what? Like, I'm like starting to actually make some money now in person. Is there any way that I could serve the people online a little bit more? And I just started with $100 Zoom consultations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'll get on a call with you. I'll talk about your problems. I'll give you a recommendation. See ya.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then, took another step further. Hey, I'll create a $50 PDF for you and I'll email you a PDF, right? Just, I didn't know.
You got into digital marketing.
Yeah. I didn't know how else to do it at that time. So now I'm starting to make like some money online.
Yeah.
But still like nothing compared to in person. And I really wasn't making that much in general, but it was like something. So a couple months go by, that picks up a little bit more. Hey, I made like $200 this week online. That's amazing. I made like $300 online this week. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe I met with someone in Germany and, Egypt and Australia, like, Saudi Arabia, like super cool. So then COVID comes around and I'm in this position where I'm presented with a fork in the road, and it's okay. People are starting to drop off in person. Everyone's freaking out. Even though I'm considered an essential service, people are still afraid, listening to the media, right? Just, yeah, all that.
Yep.
And so what I've really put a lot of work into to try to build is going away very quickly. And my wife and I, we were not in a good financial position at that point.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I really have 2 choices here. Is one, I put in 3 times as much effort to try to hold on to any degree of physical business I have. Or I just say, you know what? I'm just going to decide that that's obsolete. Look at what I'm starting to figure out online and just figure it out. That's what I did.
Wow.
I just stopped everything in person and just went 100% online and figured it out what I think relatively quickly. And then went from, a one-man show to 9 staff in 2 years and are doing a lot more, back fixing sessions than when I originally started. So that's kind of what brought me there.
So you built a multi-7-figure business just online for Chiro.
Yep.
And I think the thing I want to bring up to people is, number one, your idea of how a business should be run may not be like the best thing. At the end of the day, like you're like, oh, well, everybody said brick and mortar. This is how it's been done since Chiros have been around.
Yeah.
And then you see this opportunity with Instagram and then YouTube and everything else. And you're like, well, everybody else is doing, these now doctor visits via Zoom. Why can't we do it with Chiro? And then you start to see it actually works. And it's this crazy thing. I mean, I remember having the epiphany in my own business too, where we just started closing deals over the phone for real estate. We used to do everything in person, like, hey, let's meet with the seller. Let's negotiate this. Let's do it. And then you close all these deals over the phone and you're just like, wow, we don't even need to do all that. It's crazy. And I think that you stumbled on it early, luckily.
Yeah, we were ahead of the curve. So a lot of people, they ask, oh, did you start doing this after COVID? And it's like, no, I started, Zoom sessions before COVID. Before that happened, I was doing online sessions. And then COVID helped me kick things into gear and take it to another level. But yeah, to your point, what you brought up is a really good one. And this will speak to people who either currently have pain or will have pain in the future, which are, you brought up the obstacles of real estate deals in particular, trying to meet with the seller and find a meeting time, location, time being a variable, and all those variables are obstacles. Well, the same thing exists for people in physical pain, lower back pain in this topic. Getting help is you have to find someone that can even help you or that you trust. You have to drive there. You have to sit there and, to wait for your appointment, which is always 30, 40 minutes late.
Nobody likes it.
They need to drive home. Like, what's the time investment every single time you attempt to seek help? And then how much time do you actually have with that provider? And then once you're outside of the office, you're completely on your own, hoping whatever you are given goes according to plan. But if you have any questions or concerns, there's no one you can reach out to. You're just on your own, lost until your next appointment, when then you can provide everything that was happening throughout that. We're in this digital model where we just, once again, teach people how to fix themselves and provide unlimited communication wherever they're at. Like, we're applying to everyone same day within 24 hours, changing up their exercises within 24 hours if necessary. There's constant communication. They don't have to drive to the appointments. It's saving them time. We can advance their program faster. They get results faster. They get to their goals faster. Like, it's a complete no-brainer from the perspective of someone with a low back issue that can be resolved through the appropriate rehab plan.
Yeah. Well, I think most people's big holdup is that you need to touch them, right?
Yeah.
And, I can tell you, I recently, in the last year, I started just doing concierge medicine. So, my doctor, shout out to Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, who's been on the show. She, has been great for me for the last year, just checking in on me. If I ever have an issue, she helps me out. I had this sinus issue and she found the perfect place. And then I ended up having this little surgery that corrected a lifetime of problem I had with my sinus. It's crazy. I used to always get this cough after events. I'd lose my voice and I haven't had it since. It was crazy. And then she's done all these other things with just supplements and all this stuff. So I'm a huge believer in, I just call it telemed. And this is a form of that. And I think it's the future. My trainer right now trains me virtually.
Yeah.
So I just look on my phone every day. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I look at it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to hit these workouts and I'm going to do this. My food, my nutrition, it's all telehealth related. They just deliver it. My supplements, peptides, whatever, it's all telehealth. And so I think that Chiro is right there with it. I never even would have thought about it because in my mind, massage and Chiro, they got to touch you. That's they adjust you. But I can tell you from what I just went through with the assessment with you, you didn't have to touch me. You assessed me right then and there. And I did some exercises and I immediately felt better from the exercises. And I know that I'm gonna have to keep doing them in order to keep making progress. But I just want to say, for anyone who's skeptical about health, having to be in person, it doesn't.
Yeah. And everything you just said comes down to you doing it.
Right.
It's here's the plan, you do it. So as long as you're at any degree motivated to be out of pain, which most people should be, then you get the plan. Of course, there needs to be guidance. There needs to be communication along the way. But everything that you just listed that you're being delivered in a virtual format at this point, it just takes your motivation to do it. And as long as you do it, you get the result.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Because with lower back pain, I didn't realize it was the biggest disability in the world. So I want to talk about why that is, number one. And then two, I just want to say, I think part of the problem with you wanting to put in the work is that for some reason with lower back pain in particular, it seems like people just want, hey, fix it for me. You know, I'll just do surgery. I'll just do a massage. Maybe that'll fix it. So just snap my back, fix it. And I think what I know and what you know is that it's better to be fixed through just doing exercises. That's going to fix it and keep it healthy.
Yeah. So on that train of thought, in order to change something, like you have to change something. Like if you want your body to function in a different way, then you have to change the function of your body. So to the point earlier, I took you through movements and I took you through an exercise. Okay, so now let's take that same equation and let's say I just had you, all right, just lay down on the table like a piece of Jell-O and do absolutely nothing. I'm just going to touch you. Okay, are you gaining more mobility with that?
Snap your neck.
Yeah, like if I tell you to just lay down on the table and we're just going to use this machine on you, or I'm just going to do this, or I'm just going to crack you, like, are you gaining more mobility? No. Are you gaining more strength? No. Are you getting more education? No. Are you learning lifestyle habits that you can implement? No. You're just laying there doing nothing. So like you have to change your function in order to get an actual long-term result. It's so simple, but it's like blows some people's minds. Like, I have to do something for long-term? Like, yeah.
Welcome to being healthy.
Yeah. So it all just comes down to implementation. Like you need to do something to change your function.
Well, let me ask you about that, because you went to chiropractic school for all these years. And I'm guessing, I don't know, I haven't been there, but they're teaching you how to crack backs and
yeah, for sure,
do all that stuff. So are you not a believer in that anymore?
So here's one thing I'll lead with. The term belief, I believe in God, but I don't have a belief in other things. So when a lot of people say, do you believe in this or believe in that? Well, what I respond with, and I'm not, combating you. What I respond to, well, what does the evidence say? So when most people hear the word chiropractor, chiropractic, the connotation is cracking of joints, cracking of the back. So that's just termed spinal manipulation. There's nothing wrong with that. If someone wants to just do that, that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. What does the evidence tell us about spinal manipulation? That is, it is a helpful, very, very safe intervention for common spine pain. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but it is a passive therapy. Once again, meaning I'm not doing anything. I'm just laying on a table. All right, crack me. It's passive. Whereas we know with all the evidence that's available to us, exercise and education is the number one treatment for musculoskeletal pain as a whole, but primarily lower back pain. So there's nothing wrong with providing adjustments. That can be a helpful adjunct to things, but movement and education are the core of any degree of fixing your back. So yes, vast majority of chiropractors, that's what they're learning. They're learning to adjust. And of course, we're learning clinical diagnosis and everything else that comes with having any form of medical degree. But I'm very much so different in regards to, I don't adjust anybody. I just do rehab. Most people think I'm a physical therapist and they're shocked to hear I'm a chiropractor. But the good news is that the vast majority of the profession of physical therapists, medical doctors, and chiropractors collectively, we're all moving towards okay, I think we need to talk a little bit more about like diet, lifestyle, and exercise instead of just putting people on pills, throwing an ice pack on someone, or just adjusting their neck.
Yeah, it seems like, what do they call it? You're treating the symptoms, but you're not like fixing the issue.
Yeah, exactly. Like lay down, I'll do something to you, but we're not really changing your function.
Yeah, you're still going to have to come back to me to keep doing this.
Yeah, for sure. And each area has their own version of that. So like the chiropractic version of that I don't support is, I'm only going to do adjustments and just come back every week forever. Like I don't support that model.
Yeah.
Physical therapist, the version of that model is lay down, here's your ice pack, here's your hot pack, here's your e-stim. Now go sit on the treadmill for 10 minutes. Come back every week. Like that, there's a ton of that. Medical doctors, they have the same thing. Hey, you have back pain? All right. I'm not going to refer you to physical therapy. I'm not going to give you exercise or lifestyle modifications. Here's your script for your opioids. Just keep coming back for refills.
Do you think that they do that to just get repeat business?
Well, I think there's two reasons.
Or ignorance.
I truly want to believe that it's mostly ignorance. Like, I don't think anyone has ill intent. Like, hey, I can write an opioid script that I get kickbacks from insurance, but I'm not going to tell this person to CPT because I just want to make money off pills. Like, are there some people who do that? Probably.
Yeah, it's a minority.
But I would like to think it's, they're doing what they've been trained on. They're doing what they know. And especially in the medical industry, they're not given any training on how to actually treat musculoskeletal low back pain. So the only thing they know how to do is write a script. So they're doing what they know. The best ones in any industry will make the frontline exercise and education or refer them to someone where they can get that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So why does lower back pain happen?
Yeah. So
like, how did this happen to me? Because I've had a good back, I'm an athlete, and then just out of nowhere, man, just aching.
Yep. And here's the truth, Ryan, is what everyone wants me to say right now is a 1-sentence answer and for boom to have it. Like, hey, Ryan, analyze my business. What's my bottleneck? Boom, give me the answer. You could probably do that in certain ones. But the truth, because I'm an evidence-based provider, is I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's because of core strength, because that's kind of a myth. Oh, it's because your hip flexors are tight. That's kind of a myth too. The truth and what the evidence tells us is that low back pain is caused from a multifactorial approach. There's multiple variables that are involved with someone developing low back pain. So just to provide some degree of concept here is, yes, is there some degree of I could be in the gym, I could lift something heavy that was too much and I hurt my back? Of course. But there's many other degrees of sleep quality, physical stress, emotional stress, what your diet is. If you've been doing poor movement patterns for too long, and then you receive a high degree of, work stress or a family member died, and now that compounds on top of it, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. You cannot trace any individual's back pain down to one singular event unless there's a scenario where, hey, I'm in the gym and I'm pulling a deadlift and I feel a pop in my back and now I feel back pain.
Right.
Okay, I can say that incident caused your back. But there's also a very high likelihood that leading up until that point, you probably weren't doing the right movements. You probably had poor sleep quality and you probably had movement deficits that caused that in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's many variables that can cause
what was
back
weird
pain.
for me, like as an athlete, is the latter of, I'm in the gym, something happens. I'm like, oh, I pulled that. Or on the field, I'm running or I swing and I'm like, oh man, that swing felt weird. Like something very violent caused it. But this was weird because there was no violent action that caused it. I'm still strong and fit, and out of nowhere, it was just like, dude, my back is killing me the next day after standing for a long time. But I've done lots of events. I've stood for a long time in different places, and so I don't know. I think stress and work, and I sit down a lot. So I think about my lifestyle today. I'm definitely not as active as I was when I was playing, and maybe it's now catching up with me just sitting in this chair talking to people all day. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So think about it this way. This is a good visual. Is imagine you have a glass of water, but it's empty right now. And every time you have some degree of physical stress or poor sleep or poor diet or lack of good movement, you're pouring water into the cup. So everyone has a certain level of capacity. Capacity meaning how much water can fill your cup until you overflow.
Yeah.
So in this example, let's say when you add in too much water and it begins to overflow, now you have back pain.
Yeah.
So let's say my cup is empty. And let's say I'm super stressed with work. There's 10 fires I got to put out. Okay, I pour some water in. Okay, now I haven't gone to the gym for 3 days. So I haven't been moving and exercising. I pour in more water. Okay, now I get into a fight with my spouse. Okay, now I have some, interpersonal stress from that. Okay, I pour in some water from that. All right, now I have 2 nights in a row of really bad sleep because of work. Okay, I pour in some water there. And then I go into the gym and I perform an exercise that my body's not prepared for. I'm overly stressed. I haven't been sleeping good. I haven't been eating good. Now I do a lift or I do a movement that my body wasn't prepared for. Okay, I pour in more water. It overflows. Now I have pain.
It was everything.
So in your circumstance, you could have done multiple speaking events in the past, sure. But let's just pretend, and I'm just painting a picture for the purpose of understanding, is let's just pretend that leading up until that particular event, maybe you hadn't been standing for a long period of time for a very long time.
Yep.
So your body isn't used to standing for a long time. Then let's say leading up to that, other stresses occur. You reduce your movement. You're not working out as much. You're not drinking as much water. You're eating worse. Your sleep is impaired. And then you go and you have a very high degree of something you're not used to.
Yeah.
Standing for long periods. That's filling up the cup quicker than what might normally happen. It overflows and now you have pain.
And now I got pain. But why is back pain the thing that people get? Why isn't it leg pain or neck pain or, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is back pain so common?
Why is that like the piece?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple things here, and that is a difficult question in the root of it. But it being the number one disability in the world, there's a very bad narrative about back pain, both from a societal and healthcare perspective, but also you use your low back for everything. So this is why it's the number one disability, is because when someone gets low back pain, it affects everything. So sitting in a chair, it affects. Standing long periods, it affects. Bending over to pick something up, it affects. Like your low back is a lever arm for any type of movement. So it's receiving a lot of load almost in any position or any activity or type of job that you do. So it takes a lot of load from your lifestyle if you're not, doing the right things to try to reduce the bad stressors and increase the good stressors as much as you can. So it's like a center point for load all the time. Like you're always using it, and it can be easy to overuse.
Yeah. Like how does just stress is such a vague term. Like
Sure.
how does stress fill your cup and like hurt your back?
Yeah. So stress in regards to physical stress or emotional stress or all the above?
I get physical stress, like if I'm doing hard things with my body. That part I understand, but like just work stress, dealing with deals and the economy and all this stuff.
Yeah. So I have two really good stories that I can try to tell briefly that would help answer that. But prior to that, we need to set the stage and understand that pain is an experience. So when I pinch my hand, okay, let's say I pinch it really hard and I say, ow, my hand hurts. But let's dissect what's actually happening here. I'm pinching my skin. My skin has, chemical sensors in it, or mechanoreceptors specifically, and they're sending signals to my brain. Hey, we're feeling this amount of pressure. Okay. My brain then decides, is that enough pressure to raise the alarm and cause my hand to feel pain? Or is it not enough, so I'm not going to sound the alarm? So if I pinch it lightly, it's going, we don't have to sound the alarm. If I pinch it really hard, if I got some clamp on it, it says, let's raise the alarm so we can remove that stimulus to try to protect our body.
Got it.
So all pain is real, but all pain is created in the brain. Another good example is, let's compare a paperclip to a shark attack. If we get a paper cut.
Okay.
If we get a paper cut, you and I, oh my gosh, you're thinking about all day. It stings. Everybody hates a paper cut, but a shark bites your leg off and you don't even know it. Pain's an experience. So with the understanding that all pain is real, but is created in the brain, we can understand how that things that affect the brain can affect the result of pain. So different forms of stressors will cause that alarm system, your nervous system, to become sensitized.
Got
and
it.
a sensitized nervous system, a sensitized brain, will be easier to trip the alarm. So if my alarm is here, and physical stress, all these things, I have to go to here in order to trip it, to then trigger pain. Then if I'm sensitive from stressors or from whatever, I become overly sensitive.
Yeah.
So my alarm bell lowers. Now it's easier to trip.
Ah, okay.
So here's now two great stories, and I'll tell these pretty briefly. We had one amazing client, Gabriella. She's from Brazil. Home run client. Okay. Hey guys, I've had sciatica for a year, tried injection, chiro, PT, nothing's doing anything. Like, I think I'm going to be stuck with this forever. Joins our program because we get like 40% improvement in her very first assessment, like you, immediate reduction in leg symptoms. Oh my gosh, I have to do this. My life has changed. Within 6-7 weeks, she was completely pain-free. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is a miracle. Back in the gym, crushing it. So we're just checking in on her. Yep, I'm good, guys. I'm good. Totally good. Then all of a sudden we get some like disaster mode Armageddon messages from her. Like, oh my gosh, my pain is back. I don't know what I did. All of it's back. Like, I'm crying, it burning down my leg again. And so keep in mind, we go from like best I've ever felt, 100% pain-free, to like day one in the program, I'm dying within like 48 hours. So, okay, what happened? So we're asking her, what happened? Are you following the routine? Did you do something out of the ordinary? No. I didn't do anything different. I've been following the plan. I didn't do any foreign exercises. Like, I don't know what I did. I don't know how I re-injured this. Freaking out. Rightfully so. So we get on a meeting with her and we say, okay, Gabrielle, what's going on? I don't know. I didn't do anything. I didn't hurt myself. I didn't lift anything heavy. I don't know what I did to re-hurt my back and re-injure this. So now keep in mind what I'm saying there. I didn't do anything, nothing different, no falls, no trauma, but I don't know what I did to re-injure it. Okay, well, if you didn't do anything different, if you didn't stress your back, if you didn't fall, how are you going to re-injure anything? That doesn't make sense. So we ask her, okay, Gabriella, like, I hear what you're saying, but what's recently happened in your life? Like, what's going on behind the scene here?
Right.
Oh, I don't know. Like, how's work? Work is okay, a little stressful, but okay. Is there anything going on in your family? Has any traumatic incident happened recently? And she breaks down crying. And she says, about 4 days ago, my best friend died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, I'm sorry to hear, condolences. Were you in pain before you had the conversation? No, I was pain-free, like talking to you guys. Okay. And you received the news. And how soon after did you send us that first message? The next day. So she's been pain-free for like a month. She gets the news that her best friend died. Next day, all of her pain is completely returned. So in that context, we explained to her, hey, pain is multifactorial. Your nervous system is sensitive. You're telling us you did not lift anything heavy. You didn't fall. No incident occurred that could have damaged your back. So nothing is damaged. You feel more pain, but hurt doesn't equal harm. Mm-hmm. Just because you feel pain doesn't mean something is damaged. The experience of pain is influenced by many things. We provided that education, explained to her, do you see the correlation between you receiving this tragic news and your pain returning? She had a light bulb moment, and next day she woke up no pain, completely gone, 100% regressed out of the leg. So in that context, the emotional, stress of her friend dying channeled into a previous injury because that's what it does.
Got it.
Scenario number 2, I'll describe this quicker. We had a client, amazing, home run, pain-free, gets into a car wreck, not a crazy car wreck. With many type of, personal injury cases, there's,
you gotta have pain.
Yeah, you gotta have pain. The lawyer's jumping on it. Hey, go see this provider. And usually they have a plan. Okay, let's get as much imaging as possible. Let's necessitate procedures to rack up a case so everyone can get a nice reimbursement. It's super criminal. I can't stand it. I wish it was illegal, but it's a business in and of itself, and it's taking advantage of a ton of people in pain, and it drives me absolutely insane. Our client happened to our client. So he's doing amazing, gets in a car wreck, is told he has to see this lawyer. He has to go to this clinic, goes in the clinic. They take MRIs, CT, X-ray, and they sit him down and they tell him, you're basically going to die if you don't do surgery and do injection and do all this. They scare the life out of him by using imaging to frighten him. He walks out of there feeling like his life is over, just devastated. We don't hear from him for like a couple weeks, messages us again. Hey, I'm in pain. I'm feeling terrible. You were doing amazing. What happened? We give him the same conversation. Dude, they scared you. They used scare tactics. They freaked you out. Like, your function is the exact same as how you were a couple weeks ago when you were pain-free. Like, you are okay. You're okay. Don't let the narrative about your imaging and what's shown in your x-rays be used against you. Like, you've done amazing, and all that progress you made, it's not poof gone. Once again, within a week, pain completely gone. Didn't get an unnecessary surgery that he was being pushed to receive. Didn't get unnecessary injections, nerve ablations that he was being pushed to receive.
Wow.
Avoided all of that because we actually analyzed the situation like an evidence-based practitioner.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dang. So stress and emotions play a huge role in your actual pain tolerance and physical health. And that makes a lot of sense. At the end of the day, I'm a little harsh. Like, I call a lot of people soft, and I think a lot of it comes from that. Like, I think that they're just going through so many things emotionally and mentally and everything else that they really are feeling the pain and the pressure and everything else that's just causing them to spiral, And so, I don't know. I've kind of taken a holistic approach to life, and that's like what this podcast is about, Wealthy Way, where it's like, dude, if your spiritual life's not on point, your physical health, your relationships, and your finances, your money, they all are going to cause each other to just have major issues. And like what you're describing is that, where it's like, dude, if you got work stress, that will affect you physically. That can cause your lower back pain and everything else. If you have relational stress. Your friend died. Your marriage is going through something. That's going to cause back pain and other things. And like, when you have back pain, then that makes you out of work and you can't do your job as good. So now your money's stressing. And then guess what? That's more stress. And it's just like this downward spiral.
Yeah. So at the core of it, and I want to make this very clear to all the listeners, like, I'm not just saying, like, nothing's actually wrong with your back. You're completely fine. It's just all stress. Like, I agree in certain sense that some people aren't managing their stress. Like, life isn't as hard as you might think it is. Like, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
But in certain instances, what I'm describing here is that everybody that experiences pain, there's usually some degree of, hey, you didn't do a right movement, or yeah, maybe you were in the gym, you felt a pop. And yes, there is physically something going on that we need to address with the right exercise, the right mobility, the right strength to resolve that. But there's components of all these other stressors that can fill your cup, that can add to it. And those need to be addressed in the order of priority. So it's not a matter of if anyone has these other things going on that can affect their pain. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of how much. And everybody deals with those components, the mental components of pain, to some degree.
Right. How do you deal with those problems? Do you let it affect you in different ways? And
how big is your cup?
Yeah.
People have different size cups.
That's true too.
And you can build a bigger cup through understanding these things, through the right education, through the right movements, the right habits. You can create a bigger cup.
Okay, so let's say somebody wants to work with you guys. Like, walk me through the process of what happens and all that.
Yeah. So what's so amazing is we did the process earlier.
Yeah.
So there's so many programs and so many courses that first off are standalone. Like, oh yeah, it's just some blueprint, just buy it off my website, whatever. All right, is that going to help some people? Sure. Is that going to get to the root of most low back issues and provide a result for the rest of your life? No. So like everything we do is one-on-one based on an assessment.
Okay.
So we prove results before we take on a client. Like, we're not just, yeah, anyone with back pain come. Like,
okay.
No, we want to know that we're going to knock it out of the park like we did for you every time. So someone reaches out.
Where do they reach out at, by the way?
So Instagram is our #1 channel for sure. I'm growing my YouTube, which is great. We just passed 400K subscribers last week there. And so I've been putting a lot more effort into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram is our main hub. And so people—
What's your Instagram?
At Rehab Fix.
Rehab Fix.
Rehab Fix on all social media, but Instagram is #1. So go follow there, of course.
Yep.
So someone reaches out, they have pain. Okay. Short discussion on, like, are you dealing with the types of issues we work with? Yes. Okay, great. We'll go through a small process where the goal is, hey, let's go through an assessment first, like you and I just did, to see if we can give you a result.
So do you just do that on Zoom or what?
Yep, exactly right. Like, just like we showed earlier, don't got to touch you. I'll walk you through the movements. I'll do them with you real time. We'll demonstrate them. We take them through it. So let's see what causes your pain. Let's see what will take it away. So the goal of this movement assessment is to identify, okay, what's truly causing your pain? What are your triggers? What are your limitations? Now, based on that, I'm going to prescribe you an exercise that I deem fit based on your presentation. I'll walk through the exercise with you, make sure you're comfortable. Okay, now we're going to redo those tests and triggers to see if we can get a real-time result on the call. And we average like 20 to 40% reduction in pain across the board on all of our calls. So of course, some are 0, some are 80% improvement.
Right.
We look for the people who get real-time results on the call with us. That's what proves to them, oh my gosh, I found a solution. I've been in pain for a year. You didn't even touch me. I'm in a different country and you just reduced my pain on this call. Sweet, very obvious. We're going to be able to help you. And it lets us know we're going to be able to help you, and it lets us know the right plan to create for them.
Got it. So you do this assessment via Zoom. You want to see instant results on that assessment, right?
That's the goal.
And then from there, they just decide whether they want to keep working with you guys. Like, how long does somebody usually work with you guys?
Yep. So once again, case dependent, depending on the severity, if there's any additional comorbidities or conditions going on, and what their goal is. So if we take someone, let's say they have a lot of other chronic health issues, like the rate of healing is going to be slow. They're in a very, very sensitive state and their goal is really high. Like, I want to do a marathon.
Yeah.
All right, that's a process. Like, that might be a 9-month process to get you prepared to do that. Other individuals, most classically like yourself, okay, disc herniation, sciatica, relatively mobile, but you have pain, you have some nerve pain. You know, you're not completely deconditioned, you're not totally out of shape, and your goal is to get back in the gym and perform. A 6-month standard approach is usually what we do for the most common individual. Of course, it can be shorter if someone is in a really good place and they're just like, I'm missing a few key pieces. Okay, then there might be something shorter. But most individuals, 6-month plan, almost all of our clients, not all, of course, but most are usually totally pain-free within the first 3 months. And then the second 3 months is focused on getting people bulletproof so that they can get back to the degree of performance, the degree of athleticism that they had before, if not better than before.
Yeah, because like for me, I think about, I never had back pain before. And, now I'm like, okay, like what filled my cup? And, I'm just thinking they're like, yeah, I definitely have had more stress and stuff this year than years past. And, doing more and all these different things. But then I was just thinking, okay, I know my back is going to be good. I know I'm going to put in this work and do what I got to do, but do I got to keep doing it like forever? Or will there come a point where, hey, it's good, and then just kind of live your life, do go back to doing what you were doing, and then if it flares up, then start it again? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So let's pretend, Ryan, that you're 100 pounds overweight, okay? Yeah. And you're like, dude, I'm fat. I need to look better and I need to be healthier. Okay. So at that point in time, could we drop weight pretty fast by significantly restricting your calories? Yes. So for this context, I know that people in the health space, dietitians, I understand massively dropping calories would probably not be a recommendation for most contexts. I get it, but let's play a game here, okay? You're 100 pounds overweight. You want to lose it as quickly as possible. You want a result as quickly as possible. All right, let's just drop your calories to 1,000. And that's where you're going to be at for the next, 4 months, 5 months. Are you going to get your desired result really quickly? For sure. So now let's say you start to approach your desired physique, your desired goal weight. Okay. Does that mean we keep crash dieting aggressively? No. You let off the gas. But once you've achieved your result, do I tell you, all right, Ryan, so you've lost 100 pounds. Now you can officially just not think about food anymore. You can just eat whatever you want. You can move as much as you want because you accomplished the goal. No, there needs to be some degree of changed lifestyle to maintain that. Not aggressively dieting, not tracking everything, not running miles every day. You can back off the gas, but you have to maintain some degree of caloric balance and food monitoring and energy expenditure to maintain the goal. It's the same with low back pain rehab. So initially we have an aggressive plan and our mission is to get you out of pain as quickly as possible. So we do that. Once the goal is achieved, we let off the gas. Hey, you know what, Ryan? Throughout your whole journey with us, we found that these main movements are like your principled movements. So just before you work out, just throw these into your warm up.
Yeah.
If you've had a really long week and you've been sitting a lot, just do a couple of these movements after a long day.
And that's the thing I want to say too. Like these movements are not like, it's not like an hour-long workout.
No.
We're talking like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not crazy.
No. When we're in the first initial aggressive stages of we're trying to get people in severe pain out as quickly as possible, 10, 15 minute commitment per day. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You don't need weights. You don't need any of this stuff.
Not to address a disc or nerve issue in your lower back. No. Like you don't need anything. You might need a chair. You might need a couch for certain more unique movements we might do. But if you have a roof over your head, or a sidewalk, dude, we can get you out of pain. Like just do the work.
Yeah.
So minimal time consumption.
Okay. So why do you think the health industry is so jacked up?
Oh man. Well, that's big question, right? The easy answer is money, right? I'm sure that's a big component of it. But if I were to speak about, let me stick in my lane on this one.
Okay.
As much as I can. The low back pain healthcare system is super jacked up because the understanding of pain as a whole, but specifically low back pain up until this point, has been super outdated based on the biomedical model, which is all about let's find what tests or image shows us the problem and then treat the image. So the classic example here is let's pretend that you went down the wrong route, which many people do. Most people go down the wrong route with back issues. You hurt your back. Where do you go? I don't know. I'll just go to my general provider. You see your general provider. Well, they don't know how to treat this. They're not trained in this. So they say, all right, here's some painkillers, go to imaging. So they order an MRI. The MRI comes back. Oh, there's a disc herniation on here. That means the next step on our procedure list is an injection. So go get an injection for your herniation. That's just what we do. And then you get an injection, which only has two main substances in it, which is a numbing component and a steroidal component, which is designed to temporarily reduce your pain. So you get that. 2 to 3 weeks later, the pain comes back. They say, oh, well, step 1 injection didn't really work. Step 2, surgery. So we're going to do surgery now. And in reality, the image, that disc that was on the image, might have not even been the problem, because there's a huge finding of asymptomatic findings, which means I have something that doesn't cause me pain. And we know that, let's take the age demographic of 40-year-olds, okay? People aged 40-year-old and up, 50% of them have a disc bulge on an MRI and absolutely no pain. So let's say they have a temporary moment where their cup overflows.
Yeah.
Temporary moment. They go and they follow that traditional route. Now they're being pushed towards injections and surgery when that disc has been there for the last 10 years. It's never caused a problem, and it will never cause a problem. But because a different component triggered their pain, now that is being blamed for it. And it's the wrong thing. So now they're getting wrong procedures that, once again, a surgery isn't changing your function. It's not changing your strength. It's not changing your mobility. It's not doing anything. And then, like, whatever caused it in the first place is still there. So the fundamental guidelines really for low back pain in this, up until this point, has been based on that model. You have pain, that means it must be isolated to a single incident with tissue damage. We need a test or an image to show it, and we're either going to inject it or cut it out.
Right.
And that's not backed by the current evidence for how to best manage low back pain. So healthcare is stuck in this old model that's based on very incorrect, uneducated approaches on back pain and pain as a whole, making judgment calls on imaging, which is just not helpful. Every day we get random people just sending us MRIs. What exercise should I do for this MRI? I don't know. Tell me what your symptoms are. What do you feel? What movements trigger it? What movements feel good? Like, novel concept here, but we actually like listen to the person that's talking to us instead of like just, okay, you shut up, go get a picture of yourself. I'm just going to talk to this picture here.
Yeah.
Like,
the picture says this. Let's do it.
Yeah. Ludicrous. So not supported by the evidence. Over imaging and early imaging for low back issues is clearly advised against in current clinical guidelines, but it's being pushed very prematurely. So number one, why is it so jacked up? It's because the healthcare system has the vast majority of individuals with back pain going down the wrong, unevidence-based approach that is clearly outdated and can, not always, cause more harm than good for scaring and creating findings that aren't really relevant. And then the secondary component is, because of all of that, society now has a very bad narrative about low back pain. Oh, my aunt, she got low back pain. It's been there for 10 years. Doctors say it's never going to recover. There's a very bad societal narrative about back pain. Like, once you get it, you're stuck with it. Oh my gosh, it's serious. As opposed to if you were to get elbow pain, society, oh, okay, yeah, I'm sure it'll be better. But you say back pain and you have all these disaster stories. And it all starts with how healthcare treats it and then how that bleeds into the narratives of society. But to loop back in something you said earlier, you very confidently said, you know what? Like, I know my back will feel better. I know, I'll be okay if I put in the work. That's the truth, is that low back pain is extremely common. It's the number one disability, but it's highly recoverable.
Yeah.
Highly, highly recoverable.
Yeah. It's not like I guess the injuries I think about a lot are like, I don't want to say true injuries, but like, you see a torn muscle.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, the muscle's torn.
Yeah.
Like the ligament's gone.
That thing's ripped.
Yeah. Or a broken bone.
Yep.
Like, yeah, the bone's broke. But when I think about back, they're like, oh yeah, you slipped a disc, or it's like bulging or whatever. And kind of what you said, like, to me, it's stuff that just rehab fixes in most cases.
Hence the name Rehab Fix.
There you go.
Rehab Fixes.
Yeah.
But yes, exactly right. Like, okay, common low back issue. Let's address your lifestyle if necessary. Otherwise, based on these symptoms, let's start with some movement.
And
Let's
you're
start with
doing
some
that in the
exercises.
assessment too. I mean, you're looking at them, you're like, hey, you're overweight. This is probably an issue.
Yeah, sure. Like, ultimately, and And we have to be delicate with certain individuals, right? Like we're not calling that out immediately, but like the goal with that individual, if they've been, if they've had chronic disease for most of their life and they're overweight and they're aware of it and that's a goal of theirs, like we're not going to pull out something that isn't a goal of theirs. But if they're like, hey, I know that I'm overweight, I know that I'm unhealthy, I need to resolve these things. But someone who's overweight and can exercise, they can't do that unless their back pain's gone.
Right.
The back pain is the gatekeeper to them being able to change the rest of their life.
Yep.
So if we can help them reduce their back pain, which to just be very like blunt on this show, like we've helped morbidly obese people significantly reduce their back pain within a few months and, they didn't lose a pound. So yes, can weight contribute to all, negative aches and pains? Yes, it can, but you can still make a significant improvement so that then when the gatekeeper is gone, back pain is no longer there. Okay, now you actually have the motivation and the ability to start to exercise, to start a diet loss, a weight loss program, to start to focus on these other things. And now you can actually lose weight, move more, feel better. And now you're a completely different person. And we have some amazing stories where that was the result. Like an individual, 350 pounds, we got him pain-free. And then because of that, he lost like 200 pounds in the next year.
Yeah.
And then sent us an after picture. Like he was able to do that. And we want to steer, of course, everyone towards living the most optimal life as possible, but we got to get them through that gatekeeper first.
Yeah. No, I love it. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about you as a business owner. So, obviously I think anyone listening, it's clear you are very passionate about back health and helping people. And, when you're passionate about a business, it definitely makes it easier. Passion doesn't always equal profit, but it'll fuel you when times are tough. And you said that you originally started the business, you had just finished school, so maybe you racked up student loan debt and all these other things. And, you're like, man, I think I'm going to figure out how to do the social media thing while I'm taking all these hours in school and, married and all these different things. What was it like trying to get this business going and off the ground, in those early days?
Well, I think, I don't think I have a super, rough and tough start grind story that a lot of people might. I think I grinded really hard once things began for me, but I think all of the grind was all of the preparation. So when I was still in school and I thought, okay, I'm going to post every single day now, keep in mind, like every single day I'm filming something, I'm editing something, I'm writing a script, and I'm not making $1 for it.
Yep. And
I did that for an entire year, not even thinking I would ever make $1 for it. I was just going to use it as a portfolio. So I think was really lucky in the standpoint of, I think I put all the work in ahead of time without even really realizing it.
Yeah.
So then once I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do this online thing. I probably already had 150,000 followers at that point.
Yeah.
So sure, did I really have any sophistication in regards to call to actions and funnels? And I had none of that, but I had eyeballs. And so a few basic posts, hey, I'm doing one-on-one coaching now, like link in bio, like
just bam.
Things moved pretty well for me. Like my very first year, I thought I did incredible my very first year. I made double what my lifetime goal was for a brick and mortar chiropractor. I did double that my very first year out of school.
Wow.
So like truly, now I continue to grind, sure, and I still continue to grind. 80-hour weeks, the first probably 3 years consistently, never stopping. Like it. Like we love to work and we're passionate about working because we make an impact and personal goals drive us.
Yeah.
And it still drives me today. And I've had to become a little bit more respectful of my time for the sake of my kids and my wife, which of course has to happen. But I love to work. But in that early time, I found myself with a great opportunity, which is all the work I'd put in up until that point for free.
Yeah.
For zero return. Then I had the chance to capitalize on it and then basically figure out from there, all right, I need to work as hard as I can to figure out how to take this as high as I can.
Got it. What do you think's been the biggest thing as an entrepreneur, like, creating this new model that didn't really exist, right? It's hard to, there's telehealth, but it's hard to emulate this in the chiropractic field because you're kind of pioneering the way. What have been some obstacles and bottlenecks that you've seen?
So I would say one main bottleneck is, well, first off, my individual time, and this relates to any industry at all. So anyone, business owner listening, is initially I thought, hey, I'm the expert. I got the passion. Like it has to be me.
Yeah.
Like it can only be me.
People want to see me.
Yeah. Exactly right. People want to see me and it's got to be me. And so I didn't even understand it was possible to hire anybody to do something. So I was my own bottleneck for a pretty solid period of time because I was just so nervous and scared of handing it over.
Well, I think that's really common, especially in a service business. I see it happen with realtors. They're like, dude, only I can deal with the clients. And it's like, nah, dude, like you're not that special showing a home. Anybody can do this. And, they're like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, they don't mind other people showing them the home. This is crazy. I'm like, you think? Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You don't have to take all the admin calls and all the support calls. And, it's like, as a business owner, you got to start figuring out what are the highest value tasks that you can do. And, I definitely get it. I have thought about this from like a doctor standpoint, like how do doctors delegate? But it's really no different than you brought up lawyers. I mean, lawyers do it, they got their lower level lawyers, and doctors have their, the nurse practitioners and all these people that handle clients, and they seem to grow and function.
Yeah. Yeah. So to your point, it's limiting beliefs and fear that make people think I can't hand this over. But then in reality, I just find someone who's just as good as me at doing it or better.
Yep.
Like I have no problem saying our head doc that manages all of our online clients right now, I have no problem saying with certain conditions, certain areas, he's better than me. Like he's amazing. Our results are incredible. Is it my program? Is it my brand? Is it my, path
your reputation
and treatment approach that I created? Yes. But like his execution is next level with even more complex cases. Like he's incredible. So there's certain instances where people be like, hey, like, I think I really need to see you. And I'm like, no, you don't want to see me. Like hey, don't get me wrong. I'm great at what I do. But like, yeah, my doc that I have in place, like, no, don't see me, see him. He's better than me with this.
Yeah.
So bottleneck being myself, limiting belief, fear of putting someone in there, but then realizing like you described, like, no, you can put someone else in there, train them, find someone who's better than you at that and unlock your time for things that matter to do the things you want or to do the higher value tasks for sure.
Yeah.
So that was one big thing, not investing in coaching and not investing in guidance earlier. That's my biggest regret is if I had invested into the very first, business coach I talked to when I was first getting started and I thought, oh, that's your field. That sounds like so much right now. And now I'm like, that's nothing, right?
Yeah.
If I would have invested into the very first people I ever talked to, there's no doubt I'd be further than where I am now. So like my lack of investment into coaching, into mentorship earlier on definitely held me back. And I think I still did pretty dang good in my first year and second year out of school, but I would have absolutely invested into coaching and mentorship as soon as the opportunity presented itself.
Right.
Like I'm racing to give someone else my money so I can fast forward 5, 10, 20 years in progress. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was a huge mindset shift that was a bottleneck as well. And then in regards to specifically low back pain, a bottleneck being the messaging of it's possible to get pain-free online without someone touching you. And that's why we like to demonstrate a lot of things like this and a lot of our live assessment calls to show them, hey, like as long as you understand that you're probably just missing the right exercises to resolve your issue, as long as you understand that I can tell you those exercises to do through, video instructions or live demonstration, we can fix your back anywhere in the world.
Right.
So including that messaging in our marketing that speaks to people who might have that belief pattern or whatever is definitely key to getting people on our side of the fence and helping them actually find a solution because not everyone has the right help in their area and it's difficult to find the right help.
What do you think of, as far as a business owner today goes, is your biggest bottlenecks for growth and helping more people and building the business?
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I know it's going to be the most generic response, but I truly would say volume of leads. I absolutely would say that. And the reason why I'm saying that, I have justification, is because of course anyone would say, oh, well, get better advertising, do better marketing. There's your more leads. I've invested heavily into marketing agencies, different advertising funnels with the attempt of getting more leads and helping more people. And low back pain is a very difficult audience to advertise to. It truly is. So our bread and butter, our blood is all organic. So
Just your Instagram,
just
your
straight
YouTube.
organic, my Instagram, YouTube, and my Facebook, email. Of course, I'm building my email list. Like we're doing 7 figures, totally organic, like
Yeah.
not paying anything to ads.
Yep.
So every time I've made a push, and trust me, I'm not afraid to invest like 20, 30, 40K in ad spend. I'm not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
It really doesn't work. So not for us at least. And hey, I'm not saying maybe there's someone out there who has an answer for me. I'm not denying that. I'm always looking for an answer. But it's been extremely difficult. So that's why I'm on the show with you, is because I'm trying a different approach of more organic awareness, and organic growth, and trying to, build my brand and build awareness for people who need help in this fashion. So advertising isn't working, paid advertising at least. So I need to try other concepts and other approaches.
When you did paid ads, did you, just run like, hey, you're running ads with demonstrations and other things. You're running ads with different hooks of, if you got pain, watch this video, and then you're just kind of just doing book of calls. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah. So we've done, book to discovery call to assessment. We've done webinar to assessment, webinar to discovery call. Just, email blasts of, hey, here's this free guide, go with the guide. The guide leads them to, book a call. Those have been the primary approaches, I would say. I'm sure there's other alternative ones that if you bring up, I might remember. And we've done that on every platform. So we did TikTok ads, we did Google ads, we did Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads. Instagram ads has been the best for us so far. I'm happy if we break even. That's like, yes, like I didn't lose money this time. Like that's amazing. But like, I don't think I've ever profited. I've lost significantly. Oh yeah. YouTube ads. I lost 30 grand on YouTube in 40 days. I think with YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what I made from that 40 grand, I made $320.
No way.
Yes.
You got $320 worth of sales.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to have to talk after this. I don't believe that that's possible.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like I believe you, but I'm just like,
dude, YouTube agency with a great with a great rapport, great track record. Dude, not good.
Because I find it so hard to believe that you've been able to create great content. Obviously, you know how to be on camera. You have a great product. You have had great success selling organically. I'm just like, how have you not been able to figure out paid ads yet?
Yeah, everybody says that. Every business coach, every marketer, they have conversations like these with me. They look at my media and they're like I'm not trying to be self-righteous. Like, dude, you're pretty good at this. Like you're good. Like this should be easy.
And then it doesn't work.
Nope. Yeah, it's been bad. So I don't know. Maybe someone out there has the answer, but I think this audience, although I love this audience, I think it's a difficult audience to target from the paid perspective.
Who's like your, okay, let's go into business coaching mode. So who's like your target clientele right now that buys from you?
Yeah. I mean, the primary clientele is going to be, we naturally get more males, not significantly. It's probably 60-40, maybe 70-30 male to female, because just I'm a man. I work out. I post a lot about my fitness, physical goals. So I just naturally attract that type of mentality. So typically it's men who have a fitness related goal to some capacity. Like they got to care about getting back to the gym.
Average age?
Our average age individual is usually like later 20s, like 27, 28 to early 40s.
Okay.
That's our primary demographic. So they have some degree of a fitness goal. They're not a couch potato, because couch potatoes want to lay on the table and get cracked.
Yep.
People with fitness goals want to put in the work. So they have that same mindset. And of course they can afford premium care.
Yep.
Like we're not a cheap, low ticket, do-it-yourself product. We're one-on-one with you. You have a doctor in your pocket for 6 months. It's a premium service. It's a premium service. So they need to be able to, of course, afford it.
Yep. Okay. And then are they usually business people, entrepreneurs, corporate? Like what are they?
Yeah. So we will get, a handful of entrepreneurs, business owners here and there, which of course typically make great fits from the perspective of mindset and financial capabilities. They can get all the quality possible from us, which is fantastic, but not most of them. Most of them are middle class, I'll just say generic job. I don't mean that in an offensive way. Just a normal job, and not lower job. Just whatever.
Middle class.
Yeah, just middle.
Right
whatever.
in the middle.
Yep.
The definition of middle class. So okay, so you're talking just normal middle-class guys as the primary avatar, and you're marketing to them on, so I have 4 P's of marketing. Okay. So the 4 P's are, okay, first is the product. So we know the product. We've been talking about that. That's great. The next one is the person, which is what we were just discussing. Who is the person that buys this product? The third is the platform. Okay. Right now we're seeing a lot of success on Instagram. YouTube had a great, a great return. Not, but, I'm sure YouTube organically does really good for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like we get clients from that every week.
Yep. And then the last piece is problem. Okay. So what are the problem these people are having? Now, obviously, like lower back is a problem, and that's like the hook and the main problem. But I think about like, what are the other problems that surround this, right?
Yeah.
Obesity, stress,
Yep.
all these things.
Yeah. Poor work performance.
Yep.
Can't play with their kids. I've been out of the gym for 3 months. I'm feeling weak. I'm looking weak. I miss being able to work out.
Yeah.
I can't do the after work sports with my guys. Like, yeah, those are the main things. Of course, like I said, I'm not trying to isolate females and say we only do this, but yeah, I can't do the things I want to do, and I can't play with my kids, and I can't.
Well, and I'm
race,
sure too, you would probably get more females if you ran paid ads with a female, right? Because I'm in the same boat. I get majority males, and if you look at my YouTube channel, I think like 85% of the viewers are men, and it's not like I tried to like not have women, but it is what it is. And I think even in my world, entrepreneurship and real estate is definitely male dominated.
Yes.
That just is what it is.
Yep.
And so it's just important for us as business owners to just know who the demo is and what their problems are and where they're watching content, where you can reach them, and, positioning the product as a way to solve these problems. And I think you've done all that. I think my big thing I'm thinking about is usually when something doesn't work, I always think about the product. And obviously the product works. It works organically for you. And I think about if you go to cold traffic and these people have no idea who you are, and they haven't seen your Instagram, they haven't seen your YouTube, they've never seen this podcast. Those people are obviously the hardest people to convert. And so I think about like on your paid ads, do you go two different, there's one of two approaches. Actually, you can go after both, but one is with these cold traffic people, do you just try to nurture them into warm traffic, get them exposed to your long form content, your YouTube? Don't even sell anything. Just purely use paid ads as a way to get more organic traffic to become warm eventually. That's one. And then two is, okay, maybe there is a different product for those people. That's not your main offer that you've always done with organic. And, I just kind of think about, like you said, most people who have lower back pain just want it done for them. And it's not to say that that's the solution, because we know that the solution is, doing the work. But I just wonder if there's a better way, product-wise, to package doing the work. That would be more appetite-wise that they'd want to hear. Because I think that there's such a huge hurt. Like anybody who watched this, I would imagine at this point, they're like, bro, I get it. I got to put in the work. There is no quick fix to this. Well, I'll have quick relief from the assessment. But I know that even after that, I'm going to have to still put in work in order for this to have long-term benefit. And I think people understand that too when they're starting a business or they're investing in real estate. They're like, yeah, I want a quick win, but I understand this is a long-term game for me to build wealth and everything else. And the majority of the public does not like that. The majority of the public wants the quick win, and they want it always quick. And I just think like, man, is there a way to get them a quick win that shows how simple this really is? Because it really is 10 to 15 minutes a day. It actually is very easy. And is there a way to like package it to the public who doesn't know you and maybe attack the angles of how much surgery is going to cost you, how much, this problem is hurting your earning potential, how much this problem is hurting your family life, how much this problem is hurting your job, and like really quantify that problem in a much deeper way and let them know that like, dude, 10 minutes a day, that's all I'm asking you to do, can change your life. Like that's already where my marketing mind's going, because that is the pitch. It's like, dude, 10 minutes a day, that's all I'm asking of you. And by fixing this one problem at 10 minutes a day, you know, your marriage is going to get better, because it will. Like your family life's getting better, your jobs, you're going to financially, you're going to be in better shape, you're going to feel better about yourself. So those are things I think about just off the top of my head.
2 approaches that we're launching this year,
okay,
in regards to advertising, is one, creating a high value, low ticket funnel, which I've never done a low ticket offer.
Yep.
So a very low skill product that, of course, then if they get good value and they want more help, then there's the potential for more, obviously.
Yep.
So those more so being products, and then, one-time offer pages after that.
Yep.
That type of approach. I'm having someone build that out for me, and we're going to test that in probably a month or 2 that'll be ready.
Yep.
And then the second one is paid group. So I had done a free Facebook group for a long time.
Yep.
That had worked great for me initially. Now Facebook is extremely sensitive with message throttling, and the result of that has gone down significantly, even though I have 26,000 people organically in this group.
Yeah.
So the next approach that I want to try is creating a course in Go High Level community.
Yep.
And Go High Level, $47 a month to be in that, for individuals who, of course, match the avatar. There could be a one-time offer sell to have a one-on-one consultation with me upon joining. If they bypass that, okay, they're just in their group, and just providing a ton of super good value in their group, weekly Facebook Lives, answering questions, me actually doing it. And then, of course, having people messaging those who come in through texts to see who wants further help. Those are 2 things I'm considering to try to do what you said, trying to get people more warm, provide more quick wins to then see if we can provide more value.
And I am a huge believer in that model, the monthly membership model. We made that switch this year. So for the past 4 or 5 years, it was all just book a call, high ticket, and we did tens of millions. And this year I stopped running any paid traffic to just book a call, because the returns just did not work anymore. And I think the economy is in a worse shape. People have less money. They're less willing to spend on things, and people have way less trust than ever before. And so I said, let me take the opposite approach and just literally bring so much value for so little money that, it's just a no-brainer. But the key is that, how do you build that community in a way that you can deliver that value? But even if they never bought anything beyond that, they would become raving fans, and it would still be extremely profitable. And so, I started a $97 a month community called Wealthy University back in March. I think March. Yeah. And I had many conversations about it with some of my friends and really big people, and I just became convinced that it was the future. And, fast forward, right now we have 1,800 people in that. And obviously, we still do get high ticket sales and everything else, but as a standalone thing, it's already great. And we're not acquiring, but right now I spend about $3,000 a day into that community, just running ads and everything else. And I want to get to 10 grand a day as the funnel just keeps getting better and better. And, in my mind as a business, it's like, if that on its own is good, you get 10,000 people paying $100, that's $1 million a month. And then whatever else happens after that is all just the cherries on top of that. And it's just like a less stressful model, but it's much harder to build, because you got to be a savage at paid marketing in order for it to work. And so I love the idea. I would say that, though, most people can't do it, just because of not value reasons or anything else, but just it's so hard to optimize the product, the offer, the ads, the order bumps, the OTOs, the everything about it like has to be spot on. but it is absolutely the best way to, in my opinion, like build long-term value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that both prepares me for work. It is slightly intimidating, but also motivating towards this attempt.
Yeah, my that was not the 10-minute, hey, just give me 10 minutes a day and you could do it. This is like, no, bro, this is about to be a very hard journey, but it will be well worth it if you are, you already proven you're willing to lose a bunch of money. So you'll
Awesome.
You'll see it through and you'll be good.
That's funny.
Well, most of the people fear that kind of model, low ticket, because they think it'll cannibalize high ticket.
Yeah.
And, when you run paid ads, to recoup your ad spend, you need high ticket. You better, you got to sell stuff. When you spend 40 G's on YouTube, you're not making it back selling $47 thing,
No.
a few of those.
No.
And so that becomes the game. Can you self-liquidate it, and at what rate? Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm like, the idea is you fully self-liquidate day one. If I spend $3,000, I can make $3,000 on the front end without any sales team. That's true liquidation. That's really hard to do. But even if you could do, let's just say 0.5, if I can make 1,500 today, and I know I'm about to recur the next 1,500.
Yeah, well, then you get 3K over the 2 months.
And and I liquidate in 2 months. And so, if you can withstand that, I mean, that's still a win, because then that's not even counting whatever else you make from all that. And then it opens the door for everything else you do. So, we have softwares, we have events, we have, all these different things that, dude, if everyone's getting so much value for $97 a month, they're going to buy all this other stuff too. And so that's why I think, like, in the end, product ends up being your thing for this other audience, where it's like, yeah, the organic people will buy high ticket, but man, how do we warm up these people who don't know us, don't trust us or anything else, and then give them just so much value that they're like, hey, I want to do that thing. Like, they may not even buy the high ticket, but it's like, dude, I'd go buy this $300 thing, this $500 thing, and then down the road, hey, I'll buy the $10,000 thing. I'll buy the whatever, right? And it's the long game. And I would look at it as the paid version of organic content. That's how I would look at it, because you knew going into organic content, you were going to put in a ton of work, a ton of money, and not get any return for a long time. And you did that in college, and you built your brand, and it was great. And then boom, you reaped it. And now you're still building it and still putting in a ton of money. But the community side of things with paid is a whole different beast, because it's a different skill set of learning that game and basically building this audience over here that, quite frankly, is the most valuable audience you'll have. It's not the organic YouTube following. It's these people who are paying every month, who are in the inner circle of everything that's going on that you're doing. These are the biggest advocates. So I like the idea.
Yeah, well, it's validating, and I'm happy to hear that from you. And yeah, I'm not afraid of work, and I'm not afraid of investment.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do so if it gets me to my goals.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and that's how you help more people. Because, I mean, I can tell just, look, I've interviewed a lot of people, and so I want everyone to know this who's watching. I've interviewed a lot of people, and a lot of guys who are really good at making money. And I can tell when somebody truly enjoys whatever it is they sell, and like they're passionate about the product. And then I can tell when people are just really good marketers and sales guys, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like it's just a thing, right? I can tell you really enjoy helping people and making the product great, and, innovating ways to help people through different problems. And like, no matter how good of a marketer, if you have bad product, it won't matter.
Yeah.
It'll just, it'll fizzle out.
Yeah.
But for you, like, I want to see you get way more people, because I got back pain, and like, it's hard to think how bad my back pain would have got without my resources and like the connections and knowledge that I have. And I think there's a lot of people today with tons of back pain. And if you don't have back pain yet, you're probably going to get it.
Yep.
Statistically.
80% chance.
Yeah. So you're going to end up with it at some point. So you might as well figure out how to prevent it from ever happening, because I can tell you, this is, if my hand hurts, that's one thing, but like, your back completely takes you out, like, of everything.
Everything.
So I like it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback, and I'm happy that that is shown. Cause yeah, like I love entrepreneurship. I love hard work. I love growth. I love success, and I love helping people with back pain. Like, I love everything that is involved with it. And I appreciate that that can be shown.
Yeah. Well, dude, I appreciate you for coming on the show. It means a lot. I think we'll probably just play this assessment we got after this, and so people can see like what you walk me through. And then that way, you know, they get a firsthand view of what it is. But dude, just appreciate you, and we'll link to your Instagram and everything down below. And you know, guys, if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe, go check them out, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. All right, so I'm with Grant Elliott, and he is going to fix my back. It's been hurting for the last 3 months, and I'm trying to get it right.
Okay, so 3 months of back pain. We're going to go through a little bit of Q&A, figure out what we should do, go through an assessment, and try some movements to actually give you some relief right now.
Okay.
So 3 months, and just quick background, what have you attempted so far for this?
So I was doing massage, I was doing chiro, I've done some PT work, and I mean, they've all helped to varying degrees, but I still have pain.
Okay, got it. And similar story, most people we talk to feel like they've tried it on, and I know that can feel frustrating as well. So a couple good questions about the injury itself. How did it start? What caused it, if anything did?
Yeah, you know what's weird is I played pro baseball, and I never really had back pain. And this happened about 3 months ago after one of my events. So I was speaking, you know, the event was like 12 hours one day, and then the next day my back was just super achy. And I was like, all right, well, maybe it's going to go away. And the next day it didn't, and then the next day it didn't. And usually, like, if I have a soreness, it's going to go away within a couple of days, but this didn't. And so I knew something was wrong, and that was when I started the journey.
Okay, understood. And when it initially happened, have you had any radiating symptoms down the legs at all?
Yes.
Okay. Any one particular side?
Yeah, my left side for sure, and it was going all the way down my leg.
All the way down. How far down specifically? To the foot, ankle, to the knee?
Maybe like around the knee was where it stopped.
Okay. So that's what you felt initially. Are you now, present day, or let's say the last week or so, are you feeling any radiating symptoms at all?
I can still feel it in my back, but definitely not down the leg as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And has that flared up at all recently with certain movements or activities?
So it's weird. I golf a lot now, and it was getting better, and then I golfed 3 days in a row, and then it flared back up, and I was like, all right, I'm going to have to chill out and not golf that much.
Okay, got it. And up until this point, have you received any imaging for this or received any alternative diagnoses? Not that imaging is necessary, it isn't always, but have you received a diagnosis up until this point?
Yeah, my PT said that it was a disc issue.
Okay.
And my chiro also said it was a disc issue, but I've never, I haven't got an MRI or anything.
Sure. And many times, just for educational purposes, we don't always need an MRI or imaging to know that the disc issue. Disc issues are very common injuries. It's not like oh my gosh, I need surgery and disaster mode. It's highly recoverable. 97% of disc herniations can be resolved without surgery.
Okay.
So, and they're very characteristic of certain questions. So I guess I'll ask you a few key questions. Outside of the standing for long periods, have you noticed if like sitting for long periods starts to make that achier or increase symptoms in the leg?
I can definitely feel it sitting. I can also feel that I haven't been able to like tighten my core the way I used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about first thing in the morning, getting out of bed, bending over it? Yeah.
The bed is the worst. Waking up in the morning is the worst.
Extra stiff, just, yeah.
It aches. And then if I get going, it's much better.
Yeah. Okay. What about, let's say you have been sitting for a long period, or let's say you are getting right out of bed. I'm gonna demonstrate something here. Do you feel like when you first get up, it's almost kind of like takes a few steps to like get up straight?
Dude, I literally have to like roll out of bed
Okay.
and like, just like kind of slowly, because I can't get out the way I used to, where I'm just like, bam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And last question, what about like bending over to put on socks and shoes, things like that? That bending motion?
Yep. The bending motion is where the pain really is.
Okay. Yeah. Understood. And with most disc issues, which once again are very common, majority of them, not all of them, are what's called flexion intolerant, which means flexion of your spine is bending. So sitting long periods, bending for getting out of bed. These are very characteristic symptoms of a common flexion intolerant disc issue. So this is matching up with a really common pattern we see like literally every day. So with that context now, we're going to go through a really basic movement assessment, and keeping in mind that We're an online program. I'm not even going to touch you or do anything. I'm just going to coach you through a very typical assessment where you don't really need hands-on.
Okay.
And we'll just see where your restrictions are. I'll coach you through a movement, and then we'll see how that feels and kind of how we respond.
Okay.
Cool?
Cool.
All right. So we'll do some standing tests first, and then I will grab a chair if one is available for a couple others. So
cool.
We'll start with some really simple stuff. Just kind of back away from there, wherever the view would be the best. Just turn sideways for me, feet together. And I just want you to bend forward as far as you can, like you're trying to touch your toes. Just let me know what you feel, if you feel any pain.
Little stiffness on the left side.
Okay, so lower back, left side.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, any symptoms going into the glute or leg of any kind?
Not right now, but it was before.
Sure, understood. Important context. Bending forward, used to increase symptoms, flexion, and tolerant.
Yeah.
Next movement, still sideways, feet still together. We're going to do the opposite this time. So arms overhead, lean backwards as far as you're able to. Let's see how this looks and feels. Okay.
That one's not bad.
Yeah. Decent motion. I understand earlier we spoke and you had said you had your physical therapist doing some back bend type motions, which can be really helpful for certain disc issues. When you first started doing that, did you feel like you were extra stiff or stuck into this direction?
Yeah, it was like pinching.
Okay. Yep. Most disc issues will block that motion initially. So pain this way, kind of stuck, block that way. So very common picture.
Yeah.
Next one, feet however you like. Just give me a regular body weight squat. Just let me know how a squat feels.
Still just a little bit of tightness, but
Okay.
It's not terrible right now.
Yep. Yeah, and I understand you're not super flared up. Like I'm not anticipating you saying like, oh, So cool. Turn and face this way, please. We're gonna put our feet together again. You're just gonna put your arms to your sides, and you're gonna rotate as far as you can each way. Let's see how that feels. Anything either way?
No, not really.
Cool. Next one, we're gonna put our feet shoulder width. And I'm going to focus on pushing my hips to the sides, kind of keeping my chest still, just pushing my hips straight to the side. So this feels.
Little stiffness on that one. This one's not too bad.
So more so pushing the hips to the left?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Last two tests we're going to do are seated tests. So I'm going to grab a chair. This is a little low, but this will do. Is it cool if I grab this one?
Yep.
So you sit in the chair, face the camera. Sit right here so we can see. Now, all I want you to do is, you're a little bit taller, it's a little bit lower. It might be a little bit tight just based on the nature. But I just want you to lift one leg up and just cross it over the other, like you're just, doing a piriformis stretch, and just see how this feels on one side. We're going to compare it to the other. Nothing fancy here.
Yeah, it's fine right now.
Fine enough?
Yep.
Okay. And then the last one we're going to do is, in this position, I want you to kind of slouch forward, bring your chin down, and then you're going to straighten one leg at a time, like you're pointing your toes to the ceiling.
So slouch forward.
Yep, exactly right.
I can feel that in my back.
Okay, and then do the right one.
Not as much. Definitely the left one.
Okay, so you can take a break there. We're gonna just summarize what you did feel. Okay, so bending forward, little bit of pain, stiffness on the lower left back, no big deal. Squat, a little bit of achiness, nothing crazy. Hip shift, pushing the hips to the right, little bit of pain, once again, nothing crazy. And then this last seated test does bring on low back pain with the left leg specifically.
Yep.
And once again, the left leg was the leg that the symptoms were going down.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening here, if I can explain this, can you get back into that position? You don't have to push it really hard. When we're in this slouch position, and you don't have to force it, that's uncomfortable, okay? When we extend the left leg, you can relax. What that's doing is it's tensioning your sciatic nerve, which was flared up previously, causing the pain to go down. So bending forward, putting pressure on the disc, extending the leg, stretching the nerve. So this is a nerve tension test for sciatica, for disc issues. So when someone gets in this position, extending that nerve, stretching the nerve, I feel more pain in my back, or I feel more pain going down my leg. Extremely obvious. This is a disc sciatic issue. Very common, very mechanical. That turns it on, and then we relax and it goes away. So really, really common pattern. So we're going to start with one super simple exercise, very similar to one you discussed with me earlier. And we're going to see if this one exercise can change the way that some of these tests feel. Okay. So we'll scoot the chair out of the way. Let's give you a little bit of room.
Yep.
And what I want you to do, I'll stay behind you, is I want you to lay long ways right here on your stomach.
All right.
Okay. Very similar to a previous exercise you showed, just in a different way.
All right.
So this is going to look like a cobra pose like in yoga, but it's going to be done a little bit differently. You're going to put your hands under your shoulders like you're going to do a push-up.
Okay.
I want you to point your toes away from you. Okay, and I want you to totally relax your low back and your glutes and your hips. Just pretend like you're paralyzed from the waist down and just push your chest up off the ground like you're doing a cobra. Okay, just go as far as you can comfortably. Does that feel okay?
Yep.
Cool. We're going to do 10 of these. Okay,
All right.
all the way down and all the way up. Once again, no hands needed. I'm just going to coach them through this like we do over our one-on-one Zoom calls, just ensuring that the individual is doing the right movement in the right way. As you go through this, Ryan, once again, just focus on how it feels. If you feel anything change, I can't imagine you're going to feel any pain or discomfort with this, but if anything does change significantly, of course, relay that message. But feeling okay so far?
Yep.
Sweet. Once again, reinforcing, low back relaxed, glutes relaxed. We don't want anything fighting this motion, trying to push as far as we can into extension. Once we finish 10, you can relax on your stomach and prop up on your elbows like you're watching TV, reading a book, whatever.
Okay.
Yep. You just kind of stay in this extended position. So, safe to assume that felt okay.
Yep.
Cool. From start to finish, did it feel like it got easier, stayed the same?
Stayed the same.
Yeah, cool. And your overall mobility was pretty good with that.
Yep.
So I'm gonna talk for like 30 seconds and then we're gonna do another round. I wanna emphasize the reason we're in this position is we can see how his back is right now and as it was when we were doing the motion is this is extension of the spine or bending it backwards, which is the opposite of what triggered your pain. So bending forward, triggered.
Yep.
Extending the leg, bending forward, triggered. In the past, putting on socks and shoes, triggered. Those are all forward motions. So we're doing the opposite motion of what triggered. So if this way makes it worse, let's just see if this way makes it better.
Got it.
Simple concept, right? And most disc issues respond very well to putting pressure on the other side to kind of work the disc, load the disc, move it where it wants to be to take pressure off the nerve and pressure off sensitive tissues.
Got it.
So we're going to do just one more round of 10.
Okay.
This time, I want you to focus on pushing it as far as you can.
Okay.
Okay? As far as we can. Low back relaxed, glutes relaxed. Is that your belt or your low back popping when you do that?
That's my belt. Yeah.
I was like, that's happening every time. I wasn't sure.
Hopefully it's not my back.
No. Oh, and even if it is, it's good. Low back noise, joints popping. It's normal. Some people are worried, or is something out of place? What's that clicking? Nah, joints make noise. It's no big deal.
I'm actually getting a tricep workout.
Yep. You'll get a nice little pump there. You'll be nice and ready for the show.
Yep.
I believe that's 6, correct?
Man, I'm hoping it was 10.
And we're gonna go 7. On these last 3, I want you to exhale at the top, okay? All the way up, hold, exhale, and back down. Yep. 2 more like that. And 1 more. All the way up, exhale. Good. That's it. Go ahead and stand back up as you feel prepared to do so.
Okay.
Everything feel okay with that set?
Yeah. That was
Okay.
great.
So for like 10 seconds, I kind of just want you to just walk around. Okay?
All right.
Kind of silly. I don't care if you walk in circles. I don't care if you walk back and forth.
Okay.
The reason being is since we just kind of put you through a movement, a stressor to some capacity, sometimes the low back or the hips kind of just need a second to reset, let the blood kind of move through before we retest these triggers.
Okay.
Otherwise, the results can sometimes be a little bit skewed. So it just helps things kind of reset.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna do the same movements that you felt any symptoms with before, and we're just gonna compare before to after.
Okay.
So let's start with our toe touch. Sideways, feet together. Bend forward like you're trying to touch your toes, and just let me know what you feel here.
Definitely less, for sure.
Did you notice where your hands went to this time versus the first time?
A lot more stretched.
Yeah.
Like I could reach further.
Yeah. Now here's one strong point I want to make. Did we stretch your hamstrings at all with the exercise we did?
No.
No, we went the opposite direction, right?
Yeah.
So is it kind of weird that it actually looks as though we did because you can go forward further than the first time, but we didn't touch our hamstrings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah. If we attack disc issues the right way, his mobility, or like when that leg was flared up, for instance, that leg was limited because of the pressure the disc was putting on the nerve.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take pressure off the nerve or make the disc happier by moving it, then it's no longer going to lock the leg up and you're going to be able to go further.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I know it sounds cheesy, addressing the root issue. You don't have to stretch that leg for sciatica, you'll have to make it worse. So just find the right movement and we can free up mobility in all different ways. So good response there.
Yeah, that was good.
Let's do the squat next. Let's see how the squat feels.
Feels better.
Cool. And truly, if any of these aren't different, feel free to say. Okay, I'm not paying him to say this one. Yep. Maybe. No, just kidding.
No, it feels fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's switch ahead to the hip shift then, which was the next one that you felt anything with. Once again, not severe, but we noticed something with.
Yeah, it's definitely less.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just feel like more warmed up and like, my body's moving now. So it feels more loose.
And on that term of warmed up, we did 2 short exercises. It's not like I asked you to walk around for 10 minutes, which would naturally warm you up. Sure, if you do stuff, you'll get a little bit more limber. The goal with these type of assessments is to see how much of an impact can we make with the least amount of time and the least amount of effort.
Right.
Which tells us, okay, this was more targeted and more specific.
Yeah, I did 2 sets of 10.
Yeah, it was pretty minimal in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
So now the most important test I think out of all of this, that last one that actually, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, would you say that had triggered your symptoms the most out of all these tests?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's redo that one. Let's see what the result is there. Let's actually do this one sideways for the angle so that people can see how we're demonstrating it.
Okay, so a hunch. Dude, definitely don't have the pain that I had before.
Yeah?
Yeah. The other ones were very mild. This one was the most severe. And now, I don't feel it, to be honest. Legit.
Is that kind of cool or what?
Yeah. Do I just need to keep doing this exercise or what?
Yeah.
Just how do I?
Yeah. So this is I'm not just saying this for camera purposes. This is a very, very, very classic pattern of flexion intolerant disc issues. This is if you were to pick your avatar of your most ideal scenario, this is the bread and butter of what we do all the time. And we typically get results like these real time on almost every one of our calls with individuals like yourself.
Yeah.
So the immediate result kind of proves, okay, we know what we're doing. We know what to do from here. That one exercise we did, sure, that exercise is the reason for this change. But then, of course, now becomes the structure and the implementation, as you know, which makes anything work.
Yeah.
So it's where do we go from here? Could this one exercise be extremely beneficial to you and someone else if you only did this one movement? The answer is yes. But it won't take everyone all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
Usually there's more steps, more progressions, and more things that need to be added along the way. And of course, I would love to provide those to you.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of this video, yes, we know that extension-based movements are going to resolve your issues. This just needs to have a high frequency of consistency, so much higher reps. Some people do this one time a day. Oh, my PT showed me this. I do it once a day. That's not enough. This needs to be 5, 6, 7 times a day consistently, sometimes significantly more depending on the circumstance. And there should be progressions to it. So this is one level. There's levels above this that increase the intensity of the extension and how far we go by adding in more load and more pressure. Those should be completed ideally in most scenarios to ensure we've loaded the disc completely away from the nerve so the disc is nice and happy, and then we bulletproof the disc so it doesn't happen again. That's how we move forward.
I like it.
Any questions? Because this is actually affecting you. So with what we did,
when you say 6, 7 times a day, do you just mean throughout the day or 6 to 7 sets?
Yeah. So yes to both those. So we did 2 sets of 10 right here.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do 3, 4, 5 sets of 10 in the one assessment because certain individuals require a higher dose. Think about movement and exercise like medication. Truly do. If I had a headache, and I don't support this method of resolving headaches, but let's just pretend I take Tylenol from a headache. Okay. If I take 1/10 of a pill, it's probably not going to do anything to my headache.
Right.
If I take 10 pills, that's not going to be good for me.
Yeah.
So movement prescriptions, rehab prescriptions for back issues is the same way. If you take too little, it's not going to do much. If you take too much, it can make the situation worse. So even of a right exercise, too much or too little will not do anything.
Makes sense.
So for you, with where you're at, if someone's in a really severe, super flared up sciatica,
me 3 months ago.
Yeah, this recommendation would probably be different, and there would probably be other, maybe even lower level movements we would be working on. I just want to make that very clear. This is individual dependent. But for you right now, understanding your context and just seeing you move, when I say 5, 6, 7 times a day, that would mean individual sets of 10. So You wake up, you do 10, 3 hours later, you do 10, 2 hours later, you do 10, 2 hours later, you do 10. That type of a frequency and that type of a structure is where I would start.
So my employees are just going to see me on the ground just randomly like getting after it. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, it's that time.
Yeah, dude, we have really dedicated clients who are like in construction, who are on the construction sites. They're in the dirt.
They're on a beam, just doing
the work. And and to be clear, like this is one powerful movement for someone with your type of issue.
You're right.
But there's other pieces to this puzzle, but this is one strong piece to the puzzle that can make a significant difference.
I like it.
Any other questions about just what we've done or anything that's going on?
Nope. I just got to put in the work.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, you're going to be fine.
Cool.
So, that was awesome.
Thank you. That was great.
For sure. Yeah.